name is Charmaine Jackson. I'm 28 years old and I live in Prince George, Virginia. From a work standpoint, I recently got a new job that is based out of state. So I have been working remotely pretty much since March with my other job, and then I got this new job in July. And since it is out of state, it's permanently remote. So, I'm okay with that too. I feel like being actually in the office, people are sick and they come to work and it exposes you to everything. So not being in the office lately has really helped with that exposure, whether it's the flu or just the cold or whatever. You don't really get sick as much anymore. And as far as like an actual work standpoint, I think that it's easier to work from home because in the office, people would easily have access to you and be able to come over and ask you to do things while you're in the middle of things already. And being at home, they can still interrupt you with like texts and calls, but you can kind of prioritize what you feel is important and what you don't feel is important and when it needs to be done and when it doesn't need to be done, like right in that moment. So I think being at home working is a little bit easier.
Hi, my name is Tempest. I am 30 years old and I live in Centerville, Virginia. What are some of the things you do to keep your spirits up during this time? I am more consistent with working out, and on average 2 to 3 days a week, I walk outside, and I actually look forward to that because I get out of the house, I get some fresh air, I get the vitamin D, and I really do look forward to getting out. It's probably going to change now that the time is changing and it's getting darker earlier, so I have to change when I go out. But I really do look forward to getting outside those few days a week to work out, just to walk. Nothing, just maybe 30 minutes, a 30-minute walk, slight jog.
Marcos Torres, a middle school counselor, talks about being a first time parent and raising his daughter during COVID.
It was my first kid. Definitely, like I said before earlier, it's different to wanting to be like, all right, let's go outside, let's play, to now we're stuck in the house. And she's at the age where she has a lot of energy now. So it's hard to kind of, I guess, keep her quiet, or we have to almost schedule times where we can go outside where we're like the safest to kind of get that energy out. So it's definitely been a challenge, and of course, when you're working with other people, there's always that risk of what's going to happen if I bring it home, or if I get exposed. What is that going to look like? But luckily, we have a plan in place to where she can be safe if something like that was to happen.
Latasha Woods of Charlotte, North Carolina, also talks about raising her two daughters while in the pandemic.
If I have children, how has it been trying to raise a child during this pandemic? Hard. So my oldest daughter would have been in pre-K, like in person this year. And they ended up opening it, but we did decide to keep her virtually this year. But I'm honest, I'm worried about what kindergarten is going to look like for her because I don't think she is passing away anytime soon. And it's a lot because my youngest daughter hasn't really been able to go around people much and get to know many people, family, friends. And then my oldest, she's not able to really go out with friends and, do different activities. She's in gymnastics currently, but that's because we've already done that before. I wanted to put her in soccer this year, but that couldn't happen. Swimming lessons as well, that couldn't happen.
Hello, name is Braylon Jackson, age 28, currently reside in Prince George, Virginia. In order to go out to large crowds, the only way I feel safe is if I know I'm safe. So I've been tested. And taking a COVID test is not that bad. And I don't like anything going up my nose. I hate Flonase, but this test is no longer than 5 to 10 seconds. So it's not bad. And working in the school, I had to get tested just so I know I'm not bringing this stuff around others, especially my family. So I'm a high school PE teacher, and I guess we can't really do much in the school anyway. So PE teacher, we can't use no equipment, no nothing with the kids, just because we don't have the right cleaning equipment to clean down equipment in between each use. So that's where it's really difficult. We can't really do the same thing. No basketball, no soccer, no team sports, not even a racket sport. You can't play tennis, none of that. But luckily I teach online classes, and they've been really easy for me.
Beth Blazik, a middle school teacher at Prince George Education Center, speaks out about beating COVID.
Well, I was diagnosed with COVID after being exposed by my daughter, who's also a teacher. So the first 2 weeks was pretty rough because I was pretty sick. So it was kind of really hard to function. I tried to kind of like keep my spirits up, and because we live in the country, I kind of went for walks and stuff. So I was still like quarantined, but at least I could get outside. It was nice weather, but after a while, it got to the point that I couldn't do that. So after the first, I'd say probably 10 or 11 days, I started feeling a little bit better, trying to get my strength back and stuff. So I was real excited to go back to work because I kind of missed everybody. So when I went back into the doctor's office and I'm expecting a doctor's release, and he comes back after testing me and says, "Oh, you're still positive," I was like crushed. Because, luckily my husband was sick with me, so the isolation wasn't as bad. But it's still, I'm a people person, so it was pretty rough to kind of only see people online.
Right.
So I had another 2 weeks of quarantine, and I started teaching online, which was in another whole, mentally, physically exhaustion, not really feeling up to par, but just then all the stressors of trying to learn a new skill that I had never really done before. I was pretty fortunate because when I called my personal physician and told him that I had been exposed, he had me come directly to the office, and he gave me a 15-minute test, which was really simple, and I knew before I left the office, which is great because a lot of people I knew had to wait for days. And I was tested again after the 2 weeks, and when it came back positive, he did the 15-minute, but then because it was positive again, he wanted to make sure it wasn't some kind of discrepancy in the test, and he did the other one. The waiting was awful. You had to wait for 2 or 3 days to find out those results, but the testing was easy. It's just the waiting for the results is the worst part. I was hyper vigilant before all this, but I'm really really careful, and I stress the importance of it with the kids, and I'm really honest with the kids about, hey, I caught this is how I caught it. I let my guard down one time around my family member, and the way it spread, I kind of stressed to them the importance of it, and I'm hyper vigilant, more so about wiping things down and making sure I don't touch anything that belongs to them, and making sure they don't touch each other's things, and it's really hard because it's not a normal way of life for either me or the students. So it's just kind of like just a reminder, and because I've already gone through this, I don't want anybody else to go through this, so I'm kind of really stressed, put your mask on, make sure you're doing this, make sure you're doing all the right things.
Ms. Blazik tells us more about how she is keeping her spirits up and how she will spend the holidays.
Actually, I'm taking a trip camping this weekend. It's the first time because it's been over a month of quarantine, and then trying to get back into the swing of things, and I try to get outside and get some fresh air. Most of it's just, you start appreciating the little things, and you try to get out and do as much as possible while keeping you and your family safe. So you try to find activities that doesn't involve a whole lot of people getting together, and if you do get together, I do a little more outside stuff. Basically, we're going to be with the immediate family, and this year's pretty exciting for us because almost the whole family had it. So we're feeling pretty confident and safe about having our holiday together. I think so. Most of who's going to be there has already had it, and we're not. I'm trying to keep it to a small group instead of like I usually invite people that don't have any place to spend Thanksgiving and stuff, but we're just kind of eliminating that and sticking with our small group. I would say push yourself to go outside when it's nice. Keep in contact with people either by phone or virtually. It's really hard if you're the only family member in the household that's got it, but try to think this is only temporary. Do as much as you can to alleviate the symptoms and stuff like that. But I would say just do as much as you can.